2003 was the year that the United States invaded Iraq, and while official records say that conflict ended in 2011, those of us watching the news know that simply isn't true. Japan also deployed roughly 600 men and women under arms as a reconstruction force. The operations in Iraq were questionable under Article 9 of the Constitution of Japan, but PM Koizumi pushed it through to much opposition. While it did little to aid the war effort, it did perpetuate a good economic relationship with the United States, and would perhaps prop up Japan as a counterbalance to growing Chinese interests across the globe in coming years. That particular shoe has yet to drop, however the contingent would be fully withdrawn by 2006, and JASDF aircraft support ended in 2008. On the entertainment front, 2003 was great for sequels and follow-ups, so here's a quick rundown. Fullmetal Panic Fumoffu, the comedic follow-up to Fullmetal Panic. Big O2, produced on demand from the United States. And Mazen Kaiser, the Great General of Darkness, an OVA picking up with Koji Kabuto and the Mazen Kaiser crew. Additionally, due to lack of available research at the time of production, there were two series I missed last episode, so let's fix that presently. Kiko Senorion is a series that aired its way through 2003 and is worryingly difficult to pin down. On one side of the conflict, there is a secret occult society, the other has giant robots, and that's about as much info as I was able to dig up. It ran for 28 episodes, but the nearest I could find on short notice was a scene of someone getting punched in the stomach, and I'm fairly certain that was a special interest video. Needless to say, the premise was at least semi-interesting, with superpowers and some sort of intrigue, but footage is surprisingly spare. Additionally, it never made it stateside, so there you have it. God Century Legend Mars is adapted from a manga created by the late Mitsutaro Yokuyama. The story features Mars, a man from space whose job it is to determine if humanity is worth saving or not. He rethinks his position and decides to protect Earth using Gaia, a giant mech. Similar to God Mars, which was also spun off of the same manga, but took a very different tack. This was more faithful to the original work, but again, nothing is completely accurate. If Mars dies, Gaia, the robot, will explode and destroy the planet, but that didn't stop humans from going after him as well as his brethren. Better hope they don't succeed. This one never made it stateside either, but that's how it goes. Machine Robo Rescue, which received a mention earlier when talking about Machine Robo, has gone now to full AI-style robots, putting it in the same category as Transformers and some of the Brave series. So, well worth noting, it's not our kind of mecha. Gunparade March, starting life as a PlayStation 1 game, aired this year. World War II never got to end in this universe, as in 1945, an alien race called Phantom Beasts started slaughtering the human population. Now, 54 years later, the human race is keeping them at bay using HWT, or humanoid walking tanks. However, it's taking a toll on the population, and now they're recruiting right during high school, where newbie Mai Shibamura has just joined the 5,121st Platoon to fight off the Phantom Beasts and try to have what passes for a normal life. It's a little light on mecha action and a little heavy on drama, but it's the only real robot show of this year. Divergence Eve was nominally created to be a sci-fi story, but its marble-mouthed plotting and dumpy robot designs were clearly of secondary consideration to the ridiculous costuming and terrible character designs. Nothing else about the show stands out more than that, and, well, rabid sci-fi fans could be forgiven for wanting to see how the premise shakes out. It's difficult to take much of this show seriously. It's clearly intended to be taken that way, given the content around the constantly wobbling water balloon strapped to the character's chest, but fan service has a way of forcibly removing any gravitas or story concerns. The story follows Misaki, a pilot trainee who fights against ghouls, which are some sort of unkillable space horror that humans are struggling to keep repelled. While there may be some manner of redeeming quality to it, even the dub actresses just called it Big Boobs in Space. It was brought over by ADV Films soon after release, with the follow-up Misaki Chronicles not long after. Gadgard, while possessing a cool aesthetic and featuring some mecha elements, is more along the lines of Machine Robo by way of Pokemon, so while it needs to be mentioned for the list, it doesn't really fit our criteria. Very interesting show, however, I do recommend it. Godannar, or specifically Shikon Gattai Godannar, is the story of what happens after the big fight with all the giant monsters happens. Go and Anna are just about to get married after Go has battled his way through the mimetic beasts and rescued Anna, who is several years his junior, from their final attack at the beginning of the show. He's just about to get his happy ending when the beasts appear again and bring all the warriors back out of retirement. However, now the mimetic beasts are tougher and smarter, and it'll take everyone pulling together against both the beasts and a new virus affecting pilots to take them down. The show is based heavily in different sort of relationships, some of them a little off kilter, like the incestual British or the BDSM Russians, but it has a lot of heart and it's one of the better series of 2003. The show was brought over by ADV Films shortly after release. 2003 saw a little bit of the reboots that we've come to know and love, but 2004 would see much more of them, including an appearance of good old Needle Nose himself, Tetsujin 28 Go. And he would also see one of the first entries into the robot genre from America that could be taken anywhere near seriously.